people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Congregation's flower communion service. It is more story-based than word-based. And so if you need to move your body around during the service, please feel free to do that. If you brought flowers but you haven't brought them up to our flower altar yet, you can do that at any time. You won't be interrupting. And I want to share with you, it's my understanding this pulpit was built as a woman's pulpit, and I have never, until this giant altar of flowers at my 5'2 3/4", felt short behind this pulpit. But today I'm sort of peering out over the flowers at you. So I say good morning to you on today, our Flower Communion Sunday. Good morning to the peonies who came in bright and large, bursting with pride in the fullness of your own beauty. Good morning to the sunflowers, who always stand tall and strong, bright as the sun. Good morning to the lilies of the valley, so unassuming in the way you modestly bow your heads as if you aren't aware of your own beauty. Good morning to the daffodils, brave souls who venture forward first to signal the hope of new life for the rest of us. Good morning to the dandelions, you persistent as hell resistors of pavement and herbicide and all other forms of tyranny. Good morning to the lilacs, whose sweet presence we breathe in to refresh ourselves. Good morning to the onion flowers, you quirky weirdos who delight us into unexpected joy. Good morning to the wildflowers who, somehow noble and humble at the same time, will not be stopped from spreading beauty across the whole earth. Whoever you are, whatever type of beauty you offer and receive this morning, good morning. And as we begin our service, I invite you to joyfully cast aside your order of service. We're going a little off script, but you can check it for the hymns, and we will be singing together our first hymn, number 44. We sing of golden mornings. If you'll rise in body or spirit and join with me in singing now. So let's get comfortable in our seats. Take a deep breath. Let our feet find the floor. Now we're all dying to know what happens to the rabbit wilting flower, right? Well, as you remember, she was thinking about that flower every morning when she went down to the stream. She was struggling to enjoy her own flower very much at all, knowing the other flower was out there, wilting more and more every day. Now you may wonder, why didn't that rabbit just go over and water the flower? After all, it was not so far away, just the other side of the hill. The stream had plenty of water. There was enough to go around. And the rabbit had plenty of time. Well, that's a good question. The rabbit thought about that question all the time. She'd think about making an extra trip to the stream to get some water for that flower. But then she'd think, well, you don't just march into someone's front yard and water their flower without asking, do you? What if that flower is someone else's to water? They might yell at me or something. Or she'd think, what if the flower likes being dried up and droopy? That's possible, isn't it? Possible it's a choice. Or she'd think, aren't there animals who are supposed to go around and help out flowers whose animals don't water them? I should leave it to them, right? With all these questions swirling in her head, the rabbit went about her business, taking care of her sunflower every day, trying not to think about the other flower. It kept bothering her, especially at night. Does that ever happen to you? It happens to me. It was kind of irritating, actually. She sometimes wished the flower would just get better by itself, or die already. But every time she sneaked a peek, there it was, looking more dry, more wilted, more droopy. Finally, the rabbit could stand it no longer. One morning, hopping from the stream with a leaf full of water for her sunflower, she suddenly thought, it's just not right. Flowers are not supposed to wilt like that. Flowers should be healthy and colorful and bright and beautiful. And she found herself hopping over the hill toward the other flower, taking her water there instead. At the top of the hill, the rabbit got a bit nervous. Her nose twitched as she sniffed the air. It might be dangerous over there. She shouldn't be watering other animals' flowers. But then she said to herself, it's just not right, and kept going over the hill and down the other side. The rabbit hopped close to the dry flower, closer than she'd ever ventured before. Suddenly, a hedgehog popped out from a hole in the ground. The hedgehog yelled, "Hey, what are you doing?" "I'm going to water this flower," the rabbit said. "It's too dry, and if I don't water it, it could die." The hedgehog said, "What business is it of yours whether this flower dies?" "Is it yours?" asked the rabbit. "No," said the grumpy hedgehog, "but it isn't yours, so leave it alone. It's none of our business." But the rabbit answered, "I'm sorry, but I tried that. Flowers are supposed to be bright and beautiful, not wilting and droopy. So I'm going to water this flower." She watered the dry, wilted, drooping daisy right in front of the hedgehog, though he fussed and mumbled and gave some mean looks her way. And she turned around and hopped back over the hill. The next day she came back with a leaf full of water and watered the flower again. And the day after that, she watered it again. Then another day, and another and another. The hedgehog continued to fuss and mumble and give the rabbit some mean looks. But the flower started to look better. First the petals perked up, then the stem began to stand up a little straighter, then its leaves started to fill out and get bigger. The flower even grew a little taller, the rabbit thought. Strangely enough, as this flower got brighter, healthier, and more beautiful, taller, so did the rabbit's own flower. And so did every other flower. All the flowers in the field, even the ones she never watered. Flowers she had never even noticed before. The whole field began to brighten as the colors of every flower became more vivid and the flowers stretched taller. It was almost as if there was more water everywhere. How could that be? Were other rabbits and hedgehogs and field mice and even badgers sneaking around and watering unowned flowers too? Or was it because when someone waters a wilting flower somewhere, all flowers everywhere grow a little bit brighter? Who knows? Maybe you and I will just have to try it to see what happens. And this is the end of the story. Really seeing another person and noticing their need, the way the rabbit did in our story, is hard work. It is the work of awareness and attention that we're called to practice here each Sunday and at lots of other times too. We practice this waking up, this paying attention, because the connection that's born out of noticing, of seeing another and being seen, is the holiest gift available to us, the most sacred moment. Likewise, being seen. Seen and known in all our need and vulnerability, in all our wiltedness, the way the flower did for the rabbit, is hard work. Our hardest work, maybe. This is also what we practice here and elsewhere when we're doing church together. How to show up and unfurl ourselves like flowers, showing every glorious burst of color and every wilted petal. It takes a lot of practice to trust our community to hold us in a wholeness, to trust the earth to hold us. It is only in letting our whole selves be seen that we can be connected to one another in a way that is beautiful and divine. How often do our attempts to be beautiful, to be important, to be loved and valued, or even to mind our own business, how often do they interrupt the true beauty of connection? When we protect ourselves by trying to be the smartest or the best dressed, to be in charge or well-liked or in control, we pull inward like hard, round seeds who never get a chance to blossom. When we're brave enough to open to the sun, exposing all our softness and loveliness, we get to experience the beauty of seeing and being seen. We create a world of beauty when we allow ourselves to be seen and to see each other for all the brilliance and the need that is within us. The connections we create when we dare to open like a flower are the height of beauty. So I invite you now to participate in our annual flower communion. Nancy and Danielle have volunteered to come forward as our flower ministers. They'll stand on either side of the flower altar and see you and hand you a flower just for you, you as you wonderfully are.
What?
So I invite you, as you feel ready or moved, to come forward, be seen, and receive your flower.
I'm going to go ahead.
May the flowers we hold give us the blessing today of having been seen, of remembering to see one another, and remembering always to open ourselves to being seen, as hard as that seems to be. I offer as a benediction these words from the poet Mary Oliver. All my life so far, I have loved best how the flowers rise and open, how the pink lungs of their bodies enter the fore of the world and stand there shining and willing, the one thing they can do before they shuffle forward into the floor of darkness. May it be so. I invite you to join with me in singing hymn number 76, For Flowers That Bloom About Our Feet. Would you please rise in body or in spirit as we sing together?
Do the best you can holding someone's hand and keeping the flowers in the same spot. Sean, please join me now in our closing words.
Or the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Join us for worship every Sunday at 10 a.m. at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Canandaigua, a welcoming congregation. We are located at 3024 Cooley Road, 4 miles west of South Main Street, Canandaigua, just north of the intersection with Routes 5 and 20. Look for the blue signs just before the turn. Your comments about this program or questions about the church are welcome at 585-396-1370 or at our website, www.canandaiguauu.org. Producer and editor, Daniel Brigham.